Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by Hemisphere Coffee. Well, it's been an interesting week for off-season. Browns just finished a voluntary OTA. They have two more voluntary OTAs and one mandatory OTA. The next one is this week, June 3rd through the 4th, plus the 6th. And then they have another voluntary June 16th through the 19th. And in between those two voluntary OTAs is a mandatory on June 10th through the 12th. That's a little odd. Usually you do voluntary, and then end with a mandatory. That's kind of strange. I don't know why they're doing that last voluntary, unless they broke it up for a reason. One, to give the veteran players a little extra time off because hopefully training camp will be a little more difficult when it starts in July. And two, you're going to be dependent on a lot of rookies. You're starting two running backs. Your running back one and running back two are going to be rookies. And plus, you want to get as many reps for your two rookie quarterbacks, one of which could potentially start the season as the number one quarterback. So that kind of makes a little sense. Give the veterans a break because we're going to go tough on them in July, which I hope. Please, no more resort training camp. And then get the rookies in one last time before you let them go for the summer. Get as many reps as possible. Get them in the right frame of mind to know when training camp rolls around and you got your full 90 players, it ain't going to be easy. So that's what I'm hoping they're doing. And I don't want to see them cancel that last voluntary OTA. I don't want to hear from the coaches, well, we did a good enough job. You were 3-14. Everything went wrong. You need everything to go right. And the best way for everything to go right is to get as many reps in as possible before training camp. Send these kids home with the playbook. Hopefully they're going to study it and be good NFL football players and not get into trouble. So that leads us to the big topic this week. As always, the quarterback position. I was glad to see on Friday the Really Big Show finally take a segment of their show with Tony Grossi and actually do what I suggested they would do on Thursday. Why don't we look at all the other position groups? I mean, we can talk about the quarterback till we're blue in the face, and you know something? It ain't going to change until that first official depth chart, which leads me to depth chart. There isn't anyone. There's not a depth chart. Nobody knows who the number one is, who the number four is at the quarterback position. Nobody. Grossi will sit there and tell you, well, Joe Flacco's the number one, obviously. No, he's not. And then you have others who complain that Shedeur Sanders is number four. We don't know. When training camp starts, you're going to see an unofficial depth chart. Now, just to give you a heads up, this is going to be done by the media department. And if you're going to take it, please take it with a grain of salt, because just remember, the media department is the one who put out that horrendous schedule announcement video. I still don't know what the hell that was. I am just going to assume that it was a homage to the fact that you can now buy pot legally for recreational use in Cleveland, and they were just kind of go, well, let's get these guys something to watch as they, as they're stoned out of their gourd. Or maybe they were stormed out of their gourd when they did that ridiculous schedule announcement video. That was the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. So we really don't know who the starting quarterback is. Tony Grossi doesn't know. Mary Kay doesn't know. Uh, um, Tannenbaum, Mike Tannenbaum, former GM of the Jets, who never got another job as a GM after that, suggested that maybe, just maybe, they should start Shedeur or Sanders right off the bat. This is the same guy who told his coaches to start Sam, not, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I had a senior moment. Sam Bradford, right from the start. How'd that work out? Not too well. So take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to quarterback. What I am most encouraged about this year, and I've told you, I am not an optimist. I am not a pessimist. I am a realist. What I see, and if I see something I don't like, I'll tell you. There are certain players, Sika Ika, Tommy Togiai, James Hudson. I was mystified that these guys made it, to their third years, fourth years. I just, if I see something I don't like, I see something wrong, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Okay, I'm a realist. But what I really am encouraged by what the Browns did in the offseason, everybody talks about their best moves, this, that, and the other. There are three that I thought will have a major impact on turning this team around. And after this short break, I'll tell you about it. All right, the first one was naming Tommy Rees the offensive coordinator. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why do you think that's a great thing? He's a young guy. He can relate to these players. It wasn't that long ago that he was an offensive coordinator for Nick Saban. Very successful. Got the most out of Jalen Milroe that anybody else has. So that tells me he could communicate to his quarterback and express to his quarterback what needs to be done on the field. That's the most important thing about an offensive coordinator. Yeah, I know Kevin Stefanski is going to call plays, but the two of them, along with a few other coaches, are going to design the plays leading up to the game. So Tommy Rees, love that hire. Mike Bloomgren, love this. We're getting back. The Browns are going to get back to the wide zone offense. Now, it may not be the same as Bill Callahan, but it's going to be an offshoot of it. The guy studying under Callahan and comes with a recommendation of Callahan. This guy knows how to run the ball. And he's got two dynamic young running backs to work with. The offensive line, yes, it is a little bit better. I think it's going to do well. Watching the videos on the OTAs, DeJuan Jones looks slimmer. I have heard he's lost 40 pounds. He's on a low-carb, high-protein diet. He is taking into consideration everything the coaching staff and the training staff is telling him. I love that. Cornelius Lucas, who is listed as 6'9". My God, the guy is huge. He'll probably be your starting left tackle. I have said this before, and I'm getting that impression that he's going to be your starting left tackle. Luke Whippler has looked great in the OTAs. So is Zach Sinter. So, plus they picked up Taven Jenkins, who nobody's talking about. So, yes, the offensive line will be better. Yes, they'll get back to the zone blocking, which that's where you get your success. Third coach, third move, Bill Musgrave. Since Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry came to town, your quarterback coach / OC, they combined those duties. I am glad they're just going to have a quarterback coach. Bill Musgrave, veteran quarterback coach. This probably is the best move this team made in the offseason, was hiring him. He knows Deion Sanders' kid. Plus, he knows how to coach quarterbacks. Because let's face facts. Last year, we had no quarterbacks. The Browns had no quarterbacks. We went from 2023 to starting essentially 4. I'm not going to count the last game because that was a throwaway game. 4 quarterbacks to go into 2024 with no quarterbacks. Now, a lot of people are making the point that because of injuries, the Browns always start 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Last year, they only had 1 injured quarterback, and that was Deshaun Watson. After that, it was just the highs and lows of Jameis Winston, which, you know, he's going to throw interceptions. He's going to throw bad passes. He'll give you a little bit of excitement and then just a big bummer of a downer later. And then DTR, which just, thank God Philadelphia took him off their hands. So who do I think the starting quarterback is going to be? I have no freaking idea. All right. I've heard good things about Kenny Pickett from Terry Bradshaw. I mean, he basically insulted the franchise that made him a All-Pro and a Hall of Famer. So, you know, we all know what Joe Flacco is. Joe Flacco throws a pretty ball. He really does. You just got to hope he doesn't throw a pick six. I mean, everybody talks about the magical season. He went 4-1. I think about those 2 pick sixes in 17 seconds in a playoff game. The Browns had worked their way back. They were injured. Let me tell you, they weren't healthy going into Houston in 2023 for that wild card game. But they had, as much as they played, they worked themselves back into a position where they could have taken the lead. They were driving. In that third quarter. The defense came out, stopped Houston in their tracks. When Houston got the ball first, they were moving the ball. Then those 2 pick sixes just completely took them out. That was it. Game over. So we know what Flacco has. Pickett, I'm encouraged what I hear about him. As for the 2 rookies, don't discount Dylan Gabriel. A lot of people are. They're making fun of his height, blah, blah, blah. I don't care how tall he is. All I want is W's. Same with Shedeur Sanders. You could tell he's improved a little bit on his mechanics, which he needed to do. That's great. That shows he's taken to coaching. The coaching staff told him what he needed to improve on, is he's improving it. So that's good too. So you got 4 quarterbacks for 3 positions. I just did an article, came out yesterday, for Fans First Sports Network. It's my way too early 53-man roster, and man, it's way too early. Once you see the list of players, you'll realize they've still got some holes to fill. Yeah, I'm not as scared of the wide receiver room as a lot of people are. I noticed the official website posted on Twitter, Cleveland Browns official website. They had Jerry Jeudy mic'd as he went through OTAs. Man, this guy, he's a leader. He's making fun of the quarterbacks. He's joking around, and when he gets serious with the other wide receivers, he gets serious. You know, he told them the only people stopping us is us. Nobody else is going to be able to stop it. I love that. That's great. Now, Deontay Johnson wasn't at the OTAs. That's the only guy I'm a little bit upset about not coming to voluntary. I don't care about Bitonio. I don't care about Myles Garrett not being at voluntary OTAs. Non-story, something the media is going to come up with. Jeffrey Simmons was the only player here in Nashville for the Titans not to show up to voluntary OTAs. Only player on the team. Coach doesn't care. He says he'll be here when it's mandatory, and he'll show up in training camp. I mean, he doesn't need a new contract. I mean, he's got 3 years left on this, like Myles Garrett. It's not about the money. I don't care. It's voluntary. I don't give a damn. If he want to show up, if he wants to go to Tokyo and go to an award show to help celebrate his new girlfriend, who is an Olympic snowboarder, she got an award. That's fine. I don't care. Just show up at the mandatory and show up at training camp in good shape, and let's get ready to roll in mid-July. So I don't care about that. So last, I noticed that Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the GM of the Vikings, formerly of the Browns, got a new contract extension. He basically got it because he signed Sam Darnold. Let's just face facts. And Sam Darnold stepped in for J.J. McCarthy and led him to 14 wins. That's why he got the contract. I saw a few Browns fans say, "Oh, another one the Browns let get away." That's a load of crap. Stop that horse crap. That's stupid. Yeah, it's good. It looks good when Andrew Berry produces GMs for other teams. I mean, do you remember before Stefanski and Berry got here, people would get fired like on a yearly basis? Did those guys ever get jobs again? John Dorsey, everybody hangs their hat on John Dorsey. He never got another GM job. He's a special assistant for the Detroit Lions. He puts the scouting reports in nice colored binders for the GM. None of these guys got another job. None of them. And so I love the fact that Andrew Berry lets people leave the front office. They go elsewhere and they become successful. Let's see how the Vikings do with J.J. McCarthy as their starting quarterback. Remember, he's never played a down in the NFL. So we'll find out. And we'll also find out week 5 in London. It'll a head-to-head matchup. So that's it for today. It's a beautiful June 1st here in Nashville, Tennessee. CMA week is going to start this week. For those of you who don't know what that is the Country Music Association, celebrates country music all week long. And I love the fact that tourists come to town and spend their money. Thank you. I would say I don't go downtown this week, but if you live in Nashville, you don't go downtown. You just don't. It's crazy down there. And then the week after that is Bonnaroo Music Festival down in Manchester, Tennessee, where a cornfield or a wheat field, I don't know what field, or soybean, well, probably a soybean field, becomes the 5th largest city in the state of Tennessee. So music in the next couple of weeks here in Nashville. All right, everybody. That's it for today. This has been the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, part of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Steve Gill. And again, this is brought to you by Hemisphere Coffee, where they shake the hand of the farmer. Again, I want to thank all of you for following, listening, watching, and subscribing us here at the Fanatical Elves Network and reading our articles. We put a lot of time in those. So just remember, got more OTAs on the way. And as always, go Browns.